All right, what's up, Facebook world? We're back. Here we are with another amazing wrestling mind in our country. He's the leader and the head coach of a number 9 ranked high school in the Southeast, Oscar Smith High School over in Virginia. Led them to their first state title in school history this year. He himself, if you can't know by his shirt, wrestled at ODU, and we got him today. Coach Donald Motley, you guys might know him as Warm Up Gang. And he's here with us today. What's up, Coach, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. Blessed to be here, man. Blessed to be.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I mean, it's an absolute honor to get you. I mean, I see the warm-up game going on there, and I always see you up there. And I felt kind of important when you reached out to me and you were like, "Yo, we got to get a shirt on you." And so I was like, "I'll put a shirt on, but you got to come on." So we got you.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm excited, man. I love talking about our experiences as a team and as a coach.
Yeah, man, it's good. So I know you were at ODU, you wrestled there. Obviously, we know the story now. They're no longer there. A lot of your coaches have spread around the country doing big things. Good for them. But man, you get back home to Virginia and you take over this program. You get involved in 2013. I think you kind of took the program over in 2014. And so you had a vision. I know you got a marketing degree from ODU. So you kind of took your vision, kind of involved, obviously wrestling. That's what you're doing, and then kind of your marketing degree. But man, talk about how it's been able to grow to what it is today, and what you've done to do that.
I always believed that. I mean, especially when I was a kid, I needed things to make me want to be motivated to play sports or to be successful. And I know in today's age with the computer, the internet and social media that, with wrestling the way it is on TV and internet, a lot of youth kids want to see themselves in that same light. They want to see themselves on highlight reels or winning on podiums. So I just use that to let them know that, you can use the internet for good or bad, it can help you or hurt you. So I take a lot of my marketing angles to try to get them guys to want to commit, to try to let them know that this internet is how you're going to get recruited in a way.
Yeah. And just I'm sure it's helped putting your school on the map, doing the hashtags. I know I got one on, and then I know you hit everybody up online, but talk about what you're doing to kind of get your team known and get your students known. I know you do a lot of stuff on Twitter and Instagram and social media. But as far as wrestling, what was that long-term goal? What was that long-term vision? And what kind of coaches did you bring in around you to kind of make that work?
I'm very highly competitive with myself also. So, when I first got the job, my vision in my mind I was like, wow. I mean, I had a bunch of athletes, they might not necessarily have been wrestlers at that time, but felt like I had hit a gold mine. So my vision was high early. My vision has always been very high, even winning states this year, was a vision that I had since last year. So my vision was to win, to get these guys to college, to give them the same tools that helped change my life and to be a mentor like my coach was to me, all my coaches. So, I just knew the opportunity I had, but my vision was high, and I've always used my motivation for my wrestlers to let their energy bounce back off onto me and just make me want to be a better coach for them.
Yeah, and I was reading something. First of all, Coach Moore is shouting you out. Coach Motley is the man. I hope to crush him at 64, LOL. He does great things, and giving you a little shout out there. But I was reading some articles that said that your personality and what you're doing has really bled into not just the wrestling room, but kind of bled into the culture of the entire school and a lot of things that they're doing. Talk about how they've kind of jumped on the bandwagon. It's really helped.
Well, I'm security at the high school I work at also, so I get to walk through the halls a lot. I'm very much very outgoing. I'm an extrovert to the max. I like to make people laugh, and I am a troll too in some kind of ways, even with my own team, with the students. So, when I came in there, I came in with a sense of success, and I wanted to let them know that I was them. I related to them a lot, But one thing about it is I always attributed our hard work to success. You know, I always let them know that building your relationships with people and working hard is going to get you there. It's going to be make you successful. So, you know, I always talked about winning. I always talked about being as good as the football team. The football team is always ranked nationally and winning states and going to the state finals every year. So I talked about just winning all the time, man. And, you know, I talked to the football players, the coaches. I let them know who I was, where I came from. And, you know, always try to make my guys and even the students in the building feel like there's still a little more to do, still a little more you can do. That's good, man, but it can get great, you know. So just always having a winning mentality, positive mentality, and the kids and all the students and my coworkers know that I care genuinely about what I do and about the students.
Yeah, I mean, you type in Oscar Smith High School now, hashtag warm-up gang obviously comes up, but there's a whole bunch of other hashtags now that they're throwing out there for the school. And I'm surprised they don't have you taking over that marketing yet for the entire school.
Yeah, man. You know, what's funny. I always present ideas. I have a great, you know, it's a great administration that I work with at the high school. So they're always letting me implement my ideas. I definitely feel like I can voice what my ideas are without getting too much backlash or pushback. So definitely, man, I'm helping them with marketing. I'm always telling them what I'm doing on the internet, you know, and, you know, so it is a circle, man, of help.
It's awesome. So, you know, putting in the hard work, putting in the blood, sweat, and tears, and boom, this year it all pays off. You get the first state championship in the history of the program, correct?
Yeah, first in school history.
Yeah, man. And just before we get into what that meant to you, he's got these warm-up gang shirts, $24. Hit him up. He's trying to buy rings for the kids. So hit him up, buy some shirts from him, and let's help him get those kids some rings out there. And I'm sure he'll throw a link up here when we get off and stuff. But with that being said, man, what kind of work did it take to get to the level you're at right now, man? And what did it mean to you to have your entire team up on the podium in that spot?
Man, I tell you what, it's a feeling of euphoria. First of all, man, it's, you know, every day I wake up, sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, man, we really did it. I'm the coach, you know what I'm saying? But it took some crazy stuff, man. And, you know, hard training. It was times even where I was training just as hard as them and cutting weight with them in the tip top shape of my life. And, you know, taking them to workouts after workouts. And freestyle and Greco, man, was a lifesaver for me when I wrestled in high school and college. So I knew once I freestyle and Greco, the Olympic styles of wrestling, into my program, it was going to shoot us up another 200%. 100%. Always made them guys try to realize who they pro guys. You guys are athletic. You guys are this kind of wrestling you're going to learn with freestyle and Greco is you're going to be getting 5 points for these throws. And, you know, I always made it enthusiastic, but we went through a bunch of a whole lot of blood, sweat, and tears, man. You know, that's what makes us who we are, man. We work hard. I make them guys earn it. They make me earn it as a coach. But, you know, a lot of hitting tournaments, you know, trying to push my way into the door, walking up the coaches, hitting guys up on track wrestling, getting on track wrestling, Googling tournaments, finding directors' numbers and, you know, tournament coordinators' numbers and hitting them up, getting turned down year over year, you know, telling us, hey, man, you guys aren't quite there, you know, and that was our motivation. I would tell the team, we're not quite there as a team. You know, they want us to win titles. They want us to, you know, and us being able to hit all these tournaments we hit this year, like Ironman Beast and all those other great tournaments we hit, was me being a pest, you know, me wanting my guys to get good, me training them hard, putting the time in the room. But most of all, those guys giving me that love back, and the guys running through walls for me, training when I wasn't around, you know, and just taking my words and just seeing a little bit of myself and all them guys individually in different ways. So every time I see that, every time I see them guys going to college and winning, that smile in their faces, their parents' faces, you know, man, that's more than any money, anything, man. It's a feeling that I get to get every year, you know, getting these guys off to college.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I was going to ask, you know, what it meant for the program, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what it meant for the program to start to get your guys out of state tournaments and stuff. And and get seen and just get that experience?
I mean, man, I'm gonna tell you what. A lot of I coach in a predominantly lower middle class area, so excuse me. A lot of those kids they don't get to see a lot, man, outside of their little city. Maybe go down to the beach. So, I wanted to give them the things that I didn't get a lot of, which was traveling outside of my state, because I knew it would make them guys more enthusiastic and wanting to wrestle more. Those guys getting to stay in hotels and get up and feel like they're grown-ups, and being mature, their parents not around as much and, learning how to be mature on their own. I always wanted to get out of state because when I was in high school, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, Virginia was a powerhouse for wrestling, still is now. But we always went out of state. We always found a way to hit a tournament, even if it was North Carolina or somewhere right on one of the border states. But I knew that us getting to wrestle other guys from out of state, different styles, wrestling our season, our tournament, our state tournament was going to be easy. So I've been wanting to do that. My second year as a coach, I was like, we're going out of state, so started little by little, but now, it's a blessing to be able to be invited to all these tournaments and know that we're going to have tough schedules for years to come.
Yeah, and the kids, I've only gotten to do one off season with my son so far, but it seemed like he really enjoyed getting to meet kids from around the country, not just his buddies at school, but, to be able to look on Track Wrestling and say, hey, there's Johnny, who I met at App State. He's wrestling and following their friends and their buddies and setting
Mm-hmm.
kind of putting little carrots out there for him to get back to those places. It seems like, all year my son talked about wanting to get back to some of these places. Unfortunately, this happened, but I'm sure this isn't going to last forever, months, maybe it goes on 6 months, whatever, but it'll stop. They'll have a cure sooner or later, hopefully. But right now, man, we need to be safe. But I know one of the big things that you talked about in an article that I read was the importance of you kind of bonding with the football program and being able to get them to believe that football players can really use wrestling to, first of all, help the wrestling team, but help themselves be better football players too. And that kind of bond, what was the importance of that bond in building your program?
It was highly important. I think it was, along with a bunch of small things, man, that was one of the keys to us ultimately winning the state title. I had some guys who, first of all, in the African American community, wrestling is not the first sport. Everybody knows that. You're going to go basketball, football. So the benefit for me is me being African American, working in a predominantly African American school, and them seeing that I can play football, I can run track, play basketball, but I also can wrestle. And the coaches on the staff at Oscar Smith are very cool, very laid back. The new staff we have for a couple of years. A lot of those guys wrestled in high school. A lot of those guys went and played college football, but those coaches wrestled at Ocean Lakes or wrestled somewhere local around here. And even the head coach, Coach Cott, his mentor was one of the former coaches in this area when he was in high school and he was a student, So, and also I'm very good at speaking with the team and letting them know that I'm not here to steal you from football. I'm not here to make you want to like wrestling better. You're going to fall in love with wrestling if you're wrestling for me. You're going to like it. You're going to enjoy what you do. I'm not worried about that. But I do want to let you know that I'm going to make you feel in the best shape you've ever felt in your life. You're going to learn a lot of things from me, not necessarily physically, but mentally. I'm going to tell you a lot of things that's going to be mind sharpened. And I'm always there for them guys because I work in the building all day, walking around the halls. So I always talk to them when I'm going to get the kids out of class for getting in trouble, or I see a kid in between classes. I say something to them. We throw a joke. I just relate to those kids and I let them know that I got your back. I might be the guy they need to talk to when they can't talk to their teacher or something. So overall, having a relationship with not only my wrestlers or the football players, but just all the students in the school, letting them know that I'm you. I can be tough like you, but I'm also educated and I know there's a time and a place for everything. And I also put a lot of pressure on them. I hold people accountable, even if I don't know you, if I'm not coaching you. I find a way to hold you accountable, and I let them guys know that use your athleticism, use your talents all the time, because when you get older, you're going to wish you would use them more. So, they believe me when I say these things, and they know that I mean what I say. I'm not going to waste my breath either.
Yeah, I mean, well said. And excuse me now. James Phillips says, great comment. Fall in love with wrestling. So, yeah, I mean, I had Coach Mike Crowder on up down in Lincoln in Tallahassee. And, he said the one thing that he tells the football guys is, do you need help? Can you get better at tackling? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to teach you double A. Can you get better at your hand fighting? Yeah. I'm going to teach you how to hand fight, and he started to incorporate what wrestling moves and how they affect football. You need to be better at tackling. I'm going to show you this and that. So
I was going to say, one of my top things I do tell the guys when I am trying to recruit them is I'm going to help them with their balance and leverage. I help them learn explosive movements because, I used to go with the double A hand fighting. It didn't work for me, at least for my kids. So I always told them, you want to be able to move something really fast, abruptly. Where you want to pop and not have to push and keep pushing, or you want to pop. You want to learn how to be falling backwards on your left heel and still not fall over. So I always tell them that I'm going to teach you how to not have to use so much of your muscle, and learn how to wax on, wax off, and use guys. Sorry about that. Got a call here.
right.
But and use guys. I try to tell them that I'm gonna make you use your balance and leverage great. So, that's one of my major points that I've been getting a lot of people to buy in with is the balance and leverage points and explosive movements and powers and saving your energy and not have to blow all your energy out.
Yeah, it's awesome. And excuse me. Yeah, I think what did they say? 7 of the 10 linemen drafted this year. 7 of the first 10 linemen drafted this year were wrestlers.
Yeah, man. I put up stuff too. Don't get me wrong. I put little posts up on my wall and on my office door, and got Ray Lewis next to Jordan Burroughs. I got the list of people. But overall, I have some friends that played in the NFL, and they said the first thing that the linemen did when they got drafted this was the Cleveland Browns. I had a buddy who played for Browns. He said the first thing they did was they took all the linemen to a wrestling room and they had to wrestle. They never wrestled in their life, a lot of them. But, he said he had even pictures that he showed me. They were in there wrestling, football players who just went to the NFL. So, that just goes to show right there how important wrestling is. If they're going to put you in a room with a bunch of people who aren't really quite wrestling coaches, but they're just trying to show you small techniques that they may have done when they wrestled or have a little experience in it.
Yeah, I think I read where John Madden said, I wish I could have sent all my pro linemen when I was a coach to wrestling in the off season.
Yeah. Different mentality.
Yeah. Well, so talk about warm-up gang and how that came to fruition and what you're doing to grow it. And then obviously what you're doing to get these kids some rings.
All right, man. Warm-up gang became a good brand because of what we've made it as far as our success as a wrestling team. But warm-up gang started like my second year as the coach. And actually some of my wrestlers thought of it. We were on our way to regionals. And had a couple of wrestlers and they said, coach, our warm-ups are harder than people's practices, and we used to always say, I used to say it too, like, I'm going to make sure you guys are tired. So I'm going to make our warm-ups so hard so you guys can sit down and pay attention, So we would get visitors in our room and different coaches and wrestlers, and we'll be warming up for an hour, and most guys would be like thinking it's practice. And then I'm like, all right, everybody go get some water so we can start practice, and everybody's like, wait, that wasn't practice. And I'm like, nah, that was the warm up, So warm up gang came from being a small circle of people who can work out as hard in the first hour of practice. That's equivalent to the amount of practice a normal team will go through for 2 hours or 3 hours. So we take pride in our hard work. So warm up gang basically just means hard work, success, perseverance, but it's synonymous with hard work though. That's what it's pretty much come to. Respect is another thing. And, you know, I mean, a warm up has a lot of meanings as far as that's how you get going. So we take pride in warm up game because we know how hard our warm ups are, you know,
Yeah.
and we take pride in knowing that our warm ups are going to make us who we are. You know, that's going to come. So it blew up. You know, I kind of ran with it. I said, we should start saying warm up gang and Motley trained hashtagging it. So whenever we post stuff on our individual pages, everybody can just click. And it was like 6 years ago when Instagram was first starting up and didn't even have the videos yet. So we were saying that we won't be able to physically follow everybody, but that hashtag would be able to let us see all the wrestling from Oscar Smith. You know, so we looked at it that way, gang, and telling other people about it. Ways and people mouths, or just, you know, we'll say it a lot, you know, or we'll put it in all our tags. So the newspapers and stuff picked up on it. So now it's just I knew that, you know, with us having the success we had right now, and we just won states, and when we started our fundraiser after we won states, we were doing really good. Our goal was to raise money to buy rings and jackets. Of course, it came to an abrupt stop, and it left us close to $1,000 left to raise in jackets. So, you know, I just took it matters into my own hands. Me and my wife, I bought a Cricut Explorer with some money we had saved, and bought like a heat press Cricut. And I actually just looked at YouTube all night, was pissing my wife off because I was up to 1 a.m. every night, messing up transfer paper, you know, trying to make my own stuff. And then finally I got it, you know, and I wasn't even thinking about warm-up gang at first, but I was like, man, I was working moving jobs and stuff like that, just, you know, trying to put a little money together. So my wife actually was like, you should make some warm-up gang shirts, and maybe some people want to buy them, and that can help raise the money. So, you know, make a long story short, I knew that if I reached out to people and let them know our purpose and that what it was for, and also even without that, they would support me because they know whatever I do is going to be for a good cause, and it's for the right cause. So, I mean, it's growing. It's getting even a little bigger than me, but I'm blessed. You know, we're blessed to be able to do this and have something to do during the pandemic.
Yeah, and I like how basic it is.
Yeah, man, plain. You know, it means
Like
something.
you don't have your wrestling stuff all over there. You don't have any garbage, just straight to the point. It's what we are, and
Mhm.
that's cool. So you're making these yourself in your house.
Yeah, man, I'm making them right in my house, man. Staying up late at night sometimes making them. You know, some people I just like I'll give them away to some people. You know, like some of my family members I've sent to Michigan, and because I know that's going to be a way to get more people to buy them. You know, so yeah, and plus I like doing it. I started a clothing company when I was in college called Avada Clothing. So I've always knew how to make clothes, but I've always outsourced the actual printing process. You know, so I knew how to design and what to make. I knew how to do that. So I just needed to learn how to make them on my own. And once I learned that, I just thought to myself, like, man, the sky's the limit now. Like, we can have t-shirts, you know, things we've struggled with in the past, like warm-ups for our team, you know, and I can make those things now. So it was just a blessing, and come around and he have even a higher help for us when the season starts.
Yeah, Coach Kenny down in Texas. He used to be here in Tampa, and now he coaches at Plano East, I think. And same thing. He said, "Man, I was tired of paying all that money for these clothes." So he went and bought himself a press and started a little clothing company. And um, he's doing the same thing, man. He's like, now I can provide it for my wrestling team. I don't have to pay for it. When they
Yeah,
make state, I don't have to wait, 2 weeks to get a shirt, pay for the express time. And yeah, man, it sounds like you guys had a great idea, and I got one. It's right
yeah.
here.
Hey, man, once again, appreciate the support, man. It's been a blessing, man. I know I had a lot of good friends, a lot of good mentors, good family members, and we all got good hearts. We're all supporting each other whenever we can in any way.
I love it, man. And like I tell people, I can't wait for my wife to give me permission to bring the kids out and about again, because
Yeah.
that's not happening right now. But one day it'll happen again, and she'll give me permission. And she's Mama Bear, so I
Yep.
got a list. I got Nicole Motley warm up gang # warm up gang.
Yeah, that's her. She in the back watching right now.
Good, man. All right. Excuse me. You ready for the 10 questions?
Yeah, man. Let's go.
All right. Walsh or Beast of the East?
I'm gonna go with Walsh.
Highway 55 or Cookout?
Highway 55.
Powerade or Escape the Rock?
Escape the Rock.
MOD Pizza or Sal's?
That's the tough one, man. I'm gonna go with Sal's though. I respect Sal's.
The VA duels or the Disney duels?
VA duels.
Mission Barbecue or Johnson's?
That's gonna be Mission for me, man. I like some Mission.
More prestigious, Fargo or 32?
I'm gonna say Fargo, man. More history to me. Yeah.
All right. The Planetarium or the Museum of Contemporary Art?
I'm gonna go with the Museum of Contemporary Art. I'm weird like that.
Yeah, it seemed really cool when I was looking at it. I don't know where I was. I was looking at another place where they have like this museum where it's all like stilt things. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
all right. The Fun Forest or Chesapeake City Park?
Chesapeake City Park.
And the Dave Schultz or the Bill Farrell?
Ooh. My boy Dave got to get it, man. Dave Schultz.
I like it. Man, that's what I got, man. Is there anything that you wanted to shout out before we go? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything you wanted to talk about?
Man, I want to shout out my wife and kids. My wife especially, man, she supports me. She makes my job easy, because it's been nice when I come home and it's late or I got to get right up, go do something else, go coach. And she tries as much as she can to not make me feel bad for it. You know what I'm saying? So without her, without my wrestling parents on the team, that's somebody else. The parents on my team was a key to us winning states this year. Without them showing the love they showed for us, bringing the meals, helping us with all the logistics, traveling to tournaments, just making us feel comfortable and feel like we had people that had our back when we were out in tournaments. I really shout out the parents on my team because they've showed me a lot. They showed me a lot of teamwork, and they impressed me. I wish I could get them state rings too. Shout out to Old Dominion Wrestling. Without them, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. It's very emotional when I think about it and talk about it, but I am thankful for the opportunities, and I know things happen, but shout out ODU Wrestling, everybody that was part of it, that was on the team this year, as well as the coaches and people in the past. And shout out to wrestling period in general, man, because we need that love. We know how hard we work in our own circle, but I think it is great that we get a voice to let people know what we go through too, in our sport, in our little sport, as they may say, so. And I just want to thank God, man. I'm thankful for my blessings. I'm thankful for the opportunities I've had. And I'm thankful for being able to shed the light on the youth, and they can pass it on and save the children for the future. So, and it's a million other things I can be thankful for, man. But I'm also thankful for guys like you, man, for giving me a voice to be able to express myself and let people hear where I come from, where our team come from, and where we're looking forward to going.
Yeah, that's my goal. So I love having you on. It's an honor to have someone like yourself on. I appreciate everything you're doing. I see the kids that are being created through this sport by guys like yourself, and it's an absolute honor. Feel free to get on the page, put your links in there, and then feel free to jump in my little private group I started on the page and post your warm-up gang stuff and do your thing there. And that's all I got. You have a good one.
Hey, you too, man. Thanks again.
All right, sir. Take care.